Buenas noches. I understand you are here on the behalf of Mr. Rosenberg. I hope any recent problems have not affected his health or mental well-being, Mr.
Versetti. He's just got a touch of agoraphobia.
Excellent, excellent. And you?
I just want my merchandise.
It's been an interesting past few months for fans of Grand Theft Auto, despite there still being no news about the next GTA 6 trailer. Rockstar went back and added a bunch of fixes for the Definitive Edition trilogy, fixing broken animations and completely redoing the lighting work that did absolute wonders for GTA San Andreas in particular. Then, the entirety of GTA 4's Liberty City map was ported into GTA 5, which then leads to this case in point, GTA Vice City Remaster, the next-gen edition, from a group called Revolution. This is a fan-made project that, through pure slapjack magic, has taken the source code for the original PC release of Vice City and rebuilt it within the framework of Grand Theft Auto 4, my favourite game in the franchise, creating one of the more unique remasters in recent memory. And it's honestly what those so-called Definitive Edition remakes should have been. It's far from perfect, but there is just so much that's impressive with this remaster that I found it extremely hard to put down during the 12 or so hours I spent with it.
Everybody's a comedian. Listen to me. I'm missing 20 keys and a lot of cash.
Drugs, mate? It's a mug's game.
What do you know about it?
Oi, well, what I was coming to was...
We have already seen how these games can look in another engine, as the Definitive Editions were running in Unreal with new lighting models and remade art assets, which looked decent at times, especially San Andreas once the lighting was fixed. And the new lighting work is probably the first thing that will catch your attention, since unlike the Definitive Edition that remade all the character models, this remaster is using the higher quality Xbox models. Driving along Ocean Beach at night with all the coloured lights looks really stunning with how it illuminates the scene, and all the cars now cast great looking reflections too. A lot of this lighting work is due to the EMB graphics script, which is optional, and turning it off doesn't have too drastic effect on the game, apart from in areas like Ocean Beach. Otherwise it looks more or less like GTA 4 did. This then applies to the water too, with the cityscapes casting beautiful reflections across the water surfaces, whether you're flying over the water or driving a boat across it, something that was almost completely absent in the Definitive Edition. I always thought that GTA 4 had really good looking water that complemented having cityscapes full of lights and large structures to cast onto, and it works wonderfully with Vice City also having a city of islands laid out across water just like GTA 4. This also means that finally Tommy Vercetti can swim, which doesn't seem like a big deal until you accidentally crash your motorcycle and Tommy goes sailing off a bridge and into the water that used to result in an instant death. Heck, there's even sharks in the water now that I think are there as a failsafe to stop you from reaching the second island.
Bon appetit, motherfucker!
And this is just the first of many new features brought over from GTA 4 that have a dramatic effect on the experience, but in a good way. My main issue with the Definitive Editions is that because so much of the PS2 framework was left intact, the new visuals wound up clashing with the experience, as the games didn't feel better, they just looked better.
From a certain point of view.
Most of the cars seem to have been rebuilt and now feature the extensive damage modeling system seen in GTA 4, as well as adopting the same vehicle handling too, which might be an issue for some folk, but it didn't take me long to get used to it again. I only launched Tommy through the windshield about 10 times because it's pretty funny. There is an amusing size discrepancy between the cars and the character models. The cars are just ever so slightly too big, but it becomes a real non-issue so quickly. Vice City Next Gen takes advantage of GTA 4's pedestrian and car density settings too, allowing for more cars to be seen in the distance, along with the streets now having so many more NPCs roaming about. All these pedestrians now exhibit behaviours from GTA 4 as well. So you'll see people drinking coffees, reading newspapers, smoking cigarettes, and carrying groceries. And thanks to the Euphoria physics engine, NPCs will now react to you pushing your way through the seas of people. It makes the world feel so much more alive, and complements the updated visuals on the world artwork and lighting.
I guess that's a perspective thing.
The Euphoria physics in particular has been one of my favourite aspects of this remaster, and what I felt was sorely missing from the Definitive Editions. Obviously, this now means that you can take a car down a footpath and watch pedestrians realistically roll over your windshield or get sat on their ass after a post box you crashed into was launched into them.
This is fun.
But the Euphoria physics also elevates the combat in big ways too, as do the new shooting mechanics from GTA 4. Seeing NPCs react to being shot in different places and then falling downstairs in a ragdolling heap makes the gameplay feel so much more engaging. The improved AI systems from GTA 4 can also make the combat more unpredictable, as enemies can now take cover and lay down suppressing fire on you, and of course you also have the ability to take cover too. The more aggressive police presence from GTA 4 can make some missions a lot harder, as suddenly you're engaging with two enemy factions, and I found myself having to think a little bit more creatively with my approach to some missions. Some of the missions have also been rebalanced to take better advantage of the new combat systems, like the enemy count during the Diaz mission shootout was significantly higher, making it more intense. And the mission where you have to steal the tank led me to driving around in circles trying to run over as many soldiers as I could without getting my car pinned. The developers have also made some aesthetic changes to missions as well. A lot of missions will reset the time of day, like the final Colonel mission will always take place at dawn, or the mission where you go off to save Lance will now always take place at night, and a thunderstorm will kick in, which is pretty cool.
Been saving for a rainy day. You like?
Yeah, I like.
There are even just little details that feel impressive, like entering buildings now is completely seamless for the most part, and that you now collect your property income from your office in the building, instead of outside on the street, which, you know, makes a lot more sense when you're going for realism. It is quite an extensive set of new features and upgrades to the experience, but this is still GTA Vice City through and through. It looks how your nostalgia brain might remember it looking if you haven't played the original in years, but it now also feels much better to play and makes returning to it so much more enjoyable. And it's what the definitive editions should have been, because if a few Russian guys were able to pull this off, it can't be that hard for Rockstar.
Oh, for God's sake, it's you. Oh, jeez. I'm gonna need new pants.
Though, as I said earlier, this remaster is also far from perfect, and the Slav jank tape holding everything together does break sometimes. The cutscenes generally look really good, but due to the wider FOV, this can lead to some amusing quirks, like characters can be seen off to the side when they're waiting to enter the scene, or they'll cut across the screen because the camera is zoomed out further. There can also be some abrupt pop-in when the game cuts to somewhere else in the map. You can see during this mission when the characters teleport in the distance before the camera changes. There are times where the PS2 nature of Vice City's design can clash with the updated mechanics of GTA 4. Like I said, the more aggressive police force and the new wanted level system can sometimes make the game a bit harder than it needs to be. And much of Vice City's world wasn't built with the mechanics of GTA 4 in mind, even though there have been attempts from the devs to rebalance some missions. And this is just a little nitpick, but I wish certain parts of the map had more clutter, just like in GTA 4. I know that Vice City is meant to be a much sleeker and prettier city, but there's still parts of it that would look better with more clutter around for me to crash into or push pedestrians into. Stuff like this is fine, however. Retrying a mission is par for the course of any GTA game. It's the crashes that are the main thing which sours this remaster. The game will run and play fine probably about 70% of the time. After lengthy play sessions, I noticed that the game seems to give up and stop loading the world, which was amusing the few times it happened, and all it took was a relaunch. The Demolition Man mission, which kinda sucks even more with GTA 4's helicopter controls, also bugs out at the end. Instead of playing the explosive cinematic, the game just fades through black and then the world disappears?
Hot damn!
It's during some combat missions where the game likes to crash a lot, often in easily replicable ways too. The game seems to really dislike you zooming in with weapons during missions, particularly the sniper rifle, as that happened a few times during the last Colonel mission. The aforementioned Cuban mission was one of the worst offenders, as it kept crashing after killing the sniper, regardless of what weapon I was using. And the only workaround I found was to completely lower all of the graphics settings, and then suddenly it worked fine. Although it did take an extra 10 minutes because I had to find a 4-door car, and with the low traffic density I couldn't get one to spawn. This is most definitely because of the janky way GTA 4's engine allocated video memory on PC, and there is a little bit of command line fiddling that you may need to do to get this remaster working smoothly, depending on your hardware, and also because it's Slavjank magic that's pulled this off in the first place. It's not a complete deal breaker, and the fact the game autosaves after every mission is a godsend, but it can be frustrating how infrequent and seemingly random the crashes can be.
What did you find out?
That there are more criminals in this town than in prison.
All in all, this is still one of the best fan restoration projects I've seen in quite some time, maybe since the Resident Evil 4 HD project, and it absolutely puts those definitive editions to shame. I would absolutely love it if they also ported Grand Theft Auto 3 across into the GTA 4 engine, as that is my favourite game alongside GTA 4. GTA 3 is a game that would possibly benefit more from being remade in GTA 4's engine, since both those games are also set in Liberty City. It has some definite rough edges, but if you're looking for a new way to revisit Vice City while we wait for GTA 6, the next gen edition is absolutely worth checking out.
Watch the bathroom, buddy. You're so big. Not paying attention. I'll scratch your fucking
Will you come the hell back?
Hey!
Still got it. Just send help. Oh, you thought you could run from me, huh? Let's
Hey,
see
let
some
me
ID,
go.
huh?